I think that a part of the reason why I started Reframe was honestly out of burnout. At the time that I started Reframe, I was really trying to escape corporate because I was just burnt out from it. I had spent up to the point like a decade working in corporate, just hustling, like just trying to increase my salary because I was pursuing like real estate on the side as well. Like while I was working my jobs, like so I was trying to build out a real estate portfolio. I was really just hustling, and a part of me like just transitioning out of corporate was I was just exhausted. I started to become very disengaged with actually the work that I was doing. Like I didn't have a lot of plans and transition out of corporate. It was like I knew I wanted to do it, but it wasn't out of like I had everything set up. It was more like I was just burnt out. So I just felt like that's what I needed to do at the time. So that is truly why I transitioned out of corporate, because I was just burnt out at the time. Like I wasn't motivated. I was frustrated with work, and my job wasn't hard. I was just very, very just disengaged with the work. I didn't have the energy to do it. I would walk out of most meetings like very frustrated. I was very hard on myself. Like my manager was like, "You're doing great." And I was just like, "No, I'm doing terribly because I'm not doing I don't think I'm doing enough." It was like this, because I just got so used to being like productive up to that point, like output, show improve, show improve, show improve. And I just couldn't take it.
AC, God told me to start this podcast, and then he told me to call you. The time is now. You ready?
I got you, T. Let's do it.
Welcome to another week of the Mental Locker Room podcast. I am, of course, your boy, Dr. C, here with my wonderful co-host, teshjohnson. How you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing well. Blessed and highly favored, as I'm so prone to saying and believing for sure. How you doing today, C?
Hey, I can't complain. I got to get up this morning, get my yard cut, and get some other yard stuff done. And I feel pretty accomplished for it to be 3:30 on Sunday. Got to head to church. School start back this week. Faculty come back to campus. I'm excited about that, man. I really just being juiced up and motivated right now about the future things that have yet to happen. So it's a good spot to be in. And
Sure.
If you tune in this, like, hey, who are these people? Someone sent me this podcast to listen to, and this is my first time listening. Well, let me put you on game. See, we are the Mental Locker Room podcast, and this is a space for former athletes turned entrepreneurs and industry leaders to inspire athletes to find identity, purpose, legacy, and mindset beyond the game. So now that you know who we are, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, and make sure you share. And if you feel it on your heart on this wonderful Sunday, to make a donation to the podcast to help us keep growing and reaching as many ears as we can. That link you can find in the description. All right. But if you ain't got no money, we still want them likes and them subscriptions. All right. That's free. All right. Like and subscribe. Today I'm excited again. We got another football person.
Yeah.
Yes. See, our guest today knows what it means to chase success, family. They know what it means to lose themselves in the grind and then decide to reframe it all. Bryant Alexander is a former football player at the collegiate level at DePaul University, and he's a tech professional who walked away from a comfortable, high-paying role at Uber to step into something more purposeful, coaching leaders to design lives that scale without burning out. Bryant has since guided more than 1,300 leaders, developing frameworks like the 4 E's: edge, experience, emotion, and environment. And these 4 E's help people reclaim the vision and their values that only they can drive, build rhythms that protect their peak focus, and actually recover along the way. He's been invited onto stage at the TD Jakes Goodsoil conference, and he's proved that his impact doesn't require a massive following. And he now serves as an advisor to a little app that y'all may know called Calm, the one that is trusted by athletes like LeBron, GOAT James. But beyond the accolade, Brian is about something deeper. He wants to help high achievers escape the success trap and lead from a place of clarity, energy, and wholeness. Today, we'll talk about the risks and rewards of walking away from security and what it really means to find your edge, and why sometimes when we reframe our hustle, that might be the key to sustaining our leadership. Brian, how are you doing today? Welcome, 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 brother. We glad to have you.
Yeah, like what an intro. Like that intro is everything right there. One of the best intros I've had, and I've done quite a bit of speaking. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. But I'm feeling good. Glad I can be here with you all today. Grateful to be on this podcast. Grateful to talk to athletes, because this is kind of where I started my coaching journey at, like understanding what coaching was and my transition out of playing sports, like just coaching athletes. Like, so I'm really, really grateful to be here.
Huge thanks to Bryant. We actually met at the Good Soil Forum. He was presenting. I'm very selective with the rooms that I enter, and the topic that he presented that day, Beyond the Hustle, was something that really caught my eye. And something that not only, like, do I look to incorporate those things in my life, and those philosophies and those theories and things like that, and really putting them into action, but also just the people around me. So the more, like, I'm a learner. So the more that I can learn, the more that I can internalize, the more that I can put out into the world of the things that I truly do believe and activate. And so Bryant, thank you, because we spoke. He had a long line after his presentation, a very long line.
Yeah.
So I waited on that line to die down. See, I actually think I was sending you voice notes from Dallas, making sure the business is still afloat. And I went back in, and Brian and I got to chop it up a bit. And you gave me a lot of advice on, next steps in my coaching journey and things like that as well. So, and of course, I took the step and the risk and asked for you to be a part of what we're building here with the Mental Locker Room, which hadn't even been released yet. And you said yes. So I thank you, brother, for your contribution to this space and to this podcast. And I pray that the work that you're doing continues to manifest in this world in major, major ways.
Appreciate that. Thank you for coming to the workshop and standing in that line. It was a long line. I was exhausted by the time I got around to you, but I'm glad we had a chance to connect.
Yeah, I hit him with one of his principles. I'm like, yeah, it's about time for you to eat lunch, ain't it?
Yeah.
He was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good stuff. So yeah, let's get into it. So let's start there. Good Soil Forum. You are invited by Bishop T.D. Jakes and his team to such a large platform, right? That's based a lot on business and entrepreneurship. And despite not having a large social media following, how does an opportunity like that present itself? And did it validate for you, the way that you're building your influence just based off of depth and true impact as opposed to vanity metrics?
Yeah, like it goes back to that, like you saying, Tish, it goes back to that whole saying of like, you don't need a huge following in order to have a business. It helps for sure. But I do a lot of my business building on LinkedIn, and I'm assuming that's probably where they found me at. When they first reached out, I was like, TD, it was TD Enterprises. And I was like,
yeah,
not TD Jakes Enterprises. And it turns out it was. I was just like, nah, this can't be real. But turned out to be a real opportunity. And it just came down to, like, I just have a consistency really on LinkedIn when it comes to, my type of client, where my client is at. And I try not to overcomplicate social media. Like, it's just like, I'm a very like introverted person too. And LinkedIn just kind of fits with me in the way that I want to express myself, the type of client that I want to have. So I focus heavily on there, but that's where they found me at. So it definitely validated that, okay, somebody is watching me, somebody is seeing something, but also that I have something here that could be of value to somebody else.
Absolutely. And that's so key, right? Depending on the type of client that you're looking for, the audience that you have, you want to be in those spaces where you can attract the people that you're looking to attract. I was speaking with somebody last weekend, and they have a son who wants to play college basketball and things like that. He's not on Twitter. I know, as a collegiate basketball coach for so long, and even coaching at the high school level as well, like, that is vital. Twitter, or X now, is like the LinkedIn of sports. And for athletes and for coaches, that's where they go. So I'm like, he wants to have film, his GPA, all of that stuff. He wants to follow the coaches that are on there. Like, that's where you want to be. And so that's super important, where you were able to attract, somebody like, TD Enterprises, Michael Phillips. Shout out to that entire team. So that's amazing. That's amazing. Now, with you, before you started leadership and career coaching, all of that, you were in the corporate space, working with Uber and in tech and things like that. And then you made that bold move, as C was just talking about, to walk away, to quit, and to bet on yourself, to build out your own business. But you were very adamant about, from what I know within your journey, saying that each opportunity, each door that you walk through in terms of the workspace, you were going to use your job as a classroom. So kind of tell me, like, how did you use your job at Uber as a classroom? What was your role there?
Yeah.
And what led to that moment when you decided now's the time to walk away and build Reframe Coaching and Consulting?
It's been a journey with corporate. Like you kind of realize the scam fairly early on. Like I started off in a traditional education space. In the traditional education space, like I was working with high school. I was a football coach at a high school, and I was also helping college seniors figure out the college process and figure out that next step. So I was like, I'm really like digging this for sure, for sure. So from there, I went on to get my master's degree, and I was like, master's degree, get some more experience, make a little bit more money. And I'm thinking like it's going to be an exorbitant amount of money, more money than I'm gonna make to really like, build the vision. Like I want to start this nonprofit. It's focused on young Black men at PWIs. And then I got my first job out of my master's program, and I made like $2,000 more. And I was like, all right, like, and it was 42,000. My first job was 40,000. The second job, 42,000. I'm like, something ain't adding up here. So once I was able to kind of pick up on like, okay, education is important for sure, but just because I get this degree doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to make so much more money after I graduate. So I started to see like, okay, this isn't really about, I don't want to get trapped in this game of corporate America, like just constantly trying to climb this ladder, constantly trying to get to this number, because there's so many lessons here. And I already didn't really fit the mold of corporate America, right? I was a little bit more introverted. I was a little bit more to myself. I'm a Black man. I play football, so I'm a little bit bigger than everyone. So I'm intimidating as soon as I walk into the room. So it was just like, all right, how do I learn how to play this game? So it started fairly early on. Instead of like trying to master the game, it's like, I'm trying to play a game. I'm trying to learn a game that I don't necessarily fit the mold for. So before I even got to Uber, it was like, how can I get to spaces that are unfamiliar for me, so I can learn how to make money for myself or learn how to build something outside of the 9 to 5. So by the time I got to Uber, I was just in a pursuit of a job to where I wanted to work at a well-known company. I wanted to work in tech, and I wanted to also have a network there. And I also wanted equity, because I got equity in a company before. But a big thing about working in tech is that I was like, this might be my last corporate job. So if I'm going to position myself well for entrepreneurship, because as soon as somebody sees Uber on your resume, it's like, you've worked at one of the top tier companies in the world, but also you get paid well. You also are able to learn a lot because you're exposed to people coming from so many different backgrounds, but also you get equity too. So it's like I wanted a piece of the company as well. So the game was very strategic in the way that I was playing it, and that I know that having that on my resume, I know the experience that I was going to get was going to help me with entrepreneurship at some point. So that's why I went on to Uber. So during my time at Uber, I was basically I was designing programs and curriculum for recruiters, sourcers, and talent coordinators to help them better find good talent in the marketplace. So that's what I was doing at Uber.
Amazing.
I'm listening to you tell that story. You talking about equity, and like I'm sitting there like I wouldn't even think to ask that in the negotiating process. Hey, I want some of what you got here, right? Like, and you also are like really hitting on something that some of our other athletes have talked about on the pod, and just conversation with people in my own life about the need and transition to pick up the lingo, right? You wanted to have your own business. So as you move through corporate, you picking up the lingo, you picking up how do you move in this space? Do you feel like it was like learning a foreign language at some points?
That's a great question. I tell people all the time, I'm from the South Side of Chicago, man. I grew up around mainly black people, like black people, like black empowerment, like you proud to be black type people,
Yeah.
like culture. And so my mom did the best that she could in order to expose me to, like this isn't how the rest of America is. And she did the best she could, but it's the South Side of Chicago. Yes, it was like, so the first time I was really uncomfortable was probably college. Like, going to a predominantly white institution, it is like learning a different language. Like, it's like you have to, because I'm already quiet. So I spend most of my time observing versus engaging with people. But you start to pick up on like their interests. You start to pick up on like the way that they talk. Like you start to pick up on the inflections in their voice. You start like that. That's the type of observer that I am and that I had to be in order to kind of learn the game. Like, how do I basically put them at ease before I walk in the room? And that's not going to be me just being my naturally introverted self. I really can't see, but I learned that glasses, like me just having on glasses, like gives them a little bit of ease or openness to me. Like sometimes it's like when I walked into those rooms initially, what was happening was like once people got to know me, it was like, I thought you were mean at first, the first time I met you. I thought you were mad. I thought you were upset. And I just have I always got a frown on my face, but I'm not mad. It's just how I look. But overall, like, yes, it was like learning a different language because you realize the world is much bigger than the South Side of Chicago. Like you're not always going to have a chance to be around black people or be able to talk in a certain way. You need to make sure that you're presenting yourself because a lot of our counterparts don't even see a lot of us until they're adults or like work with us until they're adults. So it's like, all right, how do you want to play this game versus, are you going to play the game? Or are you going to try to play your own game and cause more stress, anxiety, all these different, because it's already going to be stressful and it's always going to be stressful and you're going to have anxiety, but it's like, you could pick to play this game or not, right? Whichever route is going to be challenging, but what's the route that's going to help you get what you want out of it? And I think I make that decision pretty early on. Like I need to learn to play the game because I know I want to build something for myself at some point. I didn't know what that was at that point, but I knew I had a bigger picture in mind.
Yeah. And that's so important, just being intentional about what it is that you want. This is where I want to go. This is what it's going to take to get there. So I'm going to position myself because you could have went and worked any other job just based on, I have bills to pay. Let me go do this thing, or I just got to survive. But you're like, no, I'm going to continue to be strategic about what rooms I walk into, what I'm going to be a part of, even choosing saying, okay, this is a bigger name company. It's going to look good on the resume for when I go and move into entrepreneurship and things like that. Or even, this is a company that even offers shares to their employees, where there are companies that a lot of companies, most companies don't do that, right?
Yeah.
But you saying, okay, I'm going to be strategic about, no, Kalego, keep shaking your, ain't no education. Cool, you work at. You ain't getting
Georgetown, making Georgetown for 300 years without playing what they don't want them here now.
You chose your lane.
They don't want to give it to them. I understand.
It's different, yeah. Like, and again, I didn't have a fully fleshed out plan. It was just that I knew that if I continued to work in education and nonprofit, while I do love the work, and no shade, Dr. C, you doing good work out there. No shade, shade to you.
For sure.
But it was just like, all right. It was at one point, some of my students that I was like working with at the time, they started graduating, making more money than me. And I was like, all right. I was like, all right, man. Like, I was just like, but bigger than that, I had a curious way about myself. Like, I was like, it's got to be something bigger here past the 9 to 5. So that's how that's how I was conditioned, because my mom could never keep a job because she was always mad. So I was like, it probably rubbed off on me and probably fueled my curiosity to see what else that I could explore, see what else I could get into.
Yeah, for sure. And that introverted, just being an introvert, that's super important as well, and being able to navigate those spaces. Did you ever? And we can move on from this in a minute, but it's just drawing. This is really good
It's an
stuff.
important conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got tattoos. Did you ever feel self-conscious or even conscious in any way in those spaces, like feeling like you needed to maybe cover up your arms or anything like that? I know some people, especially people of color, like they're conscious about what their hair looks like and things like that.
At one point I did. I got my first tattoos, somebody front room, like real old school, like
Yes,
the
sir.
new the tattoos of this era, man, everybody tattoos are too perfect today. I'm gonna tell you like that. Like if you ain't got that front room tattoo party
Yeah,
tattoo, you really ain't
yeah.
been through it. But early on, when I started to get more tattoos, I was working in tech.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
tattoos are a lot more acceptable
Yeah,
in tech
for sure.
versus like the high, because I knew that I was going to be in tech, and because of just what was happening, like I was just okay with my tattoos. So I was never too
Mm,
subconscious about it, but I am
yeah,
still aware of like when I'm walking in certain rooms, like, okay,
yeah,
this is a setting to where
yeah,
maybe I need to throw on a blazer, right? Maybe
yeah.
I need to throw on a long sleeve shirt. Like that doesn't really go away. And I know
Mm-hmm.
because of my stature, it
For
can
sure.
sometimes it can help, people can be
Yeah,
intimidated by that. So I'm aware of it. Not mad at it. It's a part of the game though, right? Like it's just
yeah,
like if you like me and you find out I have tattoos, that's better than versus you look at me and be
yeah,
like, I don't know
yeah.
if I want to engage with you because you have tattoos. So I am who I am, but I do understand this is the game.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's for our audience and our listeners. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of people have tattoos. I know you asked me that yesterday. You're like, I don't know if you have tattoos. Most of my tattoos you cannot see. I have 17 tattoos, and no, most people would never know it unless it's the ones on my pinky or something like that.
Uh-huh.
But even then, they're internal, and you can't really see them, right?
Uh-huh.
And I understand the places and spaces that I want to be in, and there's nothing wrong with them. And I love art in a sense, and my tattoos tell a story. Most of them
Yeah. Yeah.
are biblical in a sense or family related, whatever it is. Different beliefs on different things. I haven't gotten one in, I don't know, probably 2 decades, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or a decade. I haven't even been. Yeah. So yeah. Nah, yeah, it's probably been 2 decades since I've gotten a tattoo, but, um, just being conscious of, there's a time and place for certain things. There's an attire for in certain rooms and things like that. And so I think that's something that the audience does need to hear. So
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Was there any like fear or hesitation when you were transitioning, saying, I'm going to go into entrepreneurship, I'm going to build this? And if so, how did you overcome that?
I think that a part of the reason why I started Reframe was honestly out of burnout.
Mm,
At the time that I started Reframe, I was really trying to escape corporate because I was just burnt out from it. I had spent up to the point like a decade working in corporate, just hustling, like just trying to increase my salary because I was pursuing like real estate on the side as well. Like while I was working my
mm,
jobs, like so I was trying to build out a real estate portfolio. I was really just hustling. And a part of me like just transitioning out of corporate was out of just I was just exhausted. I started to become very disengaged with actually the work that I was doing.
mm,
Like I didn't have a lot of plans and transition out of corporate. It was like I knew I wanted to do it, but it wasn't out of like the glam. It's like I had everything set up. It was more
yeah.
so like I was just burnt out. So I just felt like that's what I needed to do at the time. So that is truly why I transitioned out of corporate because I was just burnt out at the time. Like I wasn't motivated. I was frustrated with work and my job wasn't hard.
Mm,
I was just very, very just disengaged with the work. I didn't have the energy to do it. I would walk out of most meetings like very frustrated. I was very hard on myself. Like my manager was like, "You're doing great." And I was just like, "No, I'm doing terribly because I'm not doing I don't
mm,
think I'm doing enough." It was like this because I just got so used to being like productive up to that point, like
mm,
output, 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 show
yeah.
improve, show improve, show improve. And I just couldn't take it. Like I had this very like tough inner critic at the time. And it just it led me to be very demotivated in anything that I was doing at the time. I was gaining weight. I wouldn't go out.
Mm,
was just sad all the time. And I was just like,
Mhm.
I even got pictures of myself from that time to where I was just like, I just look exhausted on camera 20, and I didn't even know.
Wow.
I'm thinking I'm showing up and I'm just like good. And it's just like, no, like I see it on my face. Like I'm exhausted. Like I
Mm,
just look exhausted. I talk really slow, no energy at all. And
mm,
it's amazing. Like I made it this far because it took me a while to even admit that I was burnt out. I just thought of it like, I'm going to go start this entrepreneur thing, forget corporate America. It took me a while to even say like, not only am I burnt out, I'm depressed. Like, cause it was, those two
mm,
things were happening at the same time. Like it was just like you get to the mountaintop. You're so used to productivity and just like being a contributor, like making an impact. You're just hustling and you hustling and you hustling and you hustling, and then you just break. And that's where I had reached at that point. So that's really the reason I left corporate, because I just kind of broke. Like I was like, I got all these things. I got the real estate. I got the 6-figure job. I got my equity. I got the coaching business on the side. It's not full time yet, but I was so tired. Like I was kind of broken because I didn't know where to go from there. I didn't know what I was really chasing at that point.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It
Yeah.
sounds like
He just
it happens to a lot of us, right? And that's a part of the
mhm.
reason I made that jump as well. Like you realize that that ladder that you're trying to climb is leaning on the wrong wall,
Uh-huh.
and it's just like, what you can either choose to stay there and just soak in your misery or the depression or whatever it is, or you can choose to do something about it and be like, no, this is what I want. This is the direction that I'm going. So yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
I can remember those times as well, like looking in the mirror, like I done gained a little bit more weight than I would hope,
Yeah, man.
and
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
and be like, yeah, but you can choose to be like, this is where we are, or you can say, okay, I'm gonna do something about it. And so
Uh-huh.
yeah, I'm glad you came to that realization because you're doing great work for sure. Yeah,
Appreciate it.
I
Appreciate it.
love it.
And it's not an easy realization to come to, right? I feel like in the circumstances that you was in, it's harder to make that. Like, where am I gonna find a job where I can make this much money?
Yeah.
My thing is, it's people right now that ain't making that money that you was
Mm,
Yeah.
making at Uber and are
yeah.
disengaging, or as Coach used to say, going through the motion. Right.
Mm,
And I think that is one thing that our listeners, especially the ones in transition or currently in a career that you don't really like, need to listen to.
Uh-huh.
Don't keep going through the motions, right? If you ain't in somewhere that motivates you to be better, right? Be the best version of you. Because you said something, Brian. I was just thinking, you was like, I was exhausted and I didn't even realize it. I was showing up. You wanted your best you. So what was the
Yeah.
use of showing up, right? Like if
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be the best version of me, and maybe this is the competitor in me from back in the day of
Yeah.
if I'm not gonna be the best version of me, I don't even need to be here for real. Like I need to be in an environment that allows me to consistently be the best version of me and kind of mitigates the ability for me to disengage because either I'm doing something I really believe in, which I can see you are with your business now, right? And we don't always get that when we're working for other people, right? Often you finna do what your manager said do, that somebody told them that they said you finna do, that somebody told them. It's like, so you getting the directions from 4 different people about something that you're doing. And it's like, how do we keep in those situations, keep our motivation to just keep being the best version of you possible? Because that's what you really gotta have when it start getting a little spooky and shaky.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that because I'm not telling anybody to quit their job. Like I just like that's the first thing I want to say. Like, listen,
yeah,
don't take the route that I took. Like again, like I want to emphasize, like I was not admitting that I was burnt out at the time, that I was exhausted, that I was
yeah.
depressed. And you would think that you got real estate, you got a 6-figure job, you work at one of the most well-known companies in the world. Like, how could you be like sad or exhausted, or what is there to be mad about? It's just like, I don't know, when Lauren Hill, when you ain't right within, like it's just like, it's rough. How you gonna get right? But
Yeah.
I just think that it is hard, and these things are just a part of just growth. Like it was a
Mm.
place that I had never been before. It was unfamiliar territory to where like you put in the hours, the time, the focus, the dedication, and then you reach that goal, and then you're like, okay, now what? And that can put you in a
Yeah.
place to where it's like, all right, I really don't know what to do here. And I don't have a lot of people around me, or maybe I'm not reaching out I guess that's the other thing. I wasn't reaching out for help at the time either, because
Mm,
everything up to that point was really like me just figuring it out, pushing myself. Like I'm probably one of the highest earners in my family at that point in time. Probably some more education. So like my mom isn't there to like always tell me like, well, like go talk to this
yeah.
person, or maybe you should consider this. Or I can't talk to my dad and be like, well, what should I do now? Like I don't know. Like I've reached this
Yeah.
pinnacle, and I wasn't asking for help because I wasn't used to asking for help because I had pushed myself so much on my own. And I think that was
Yeah.
a part of it as well. So I was used to like knowing the answer and knowing what to do next. And so that was
Yeah.
also a part of it too.
The struggle of a
Mm,
high achiever.
Yeah.
Right?
mm.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I think several
Yeah.
students I done taught that's just like
Yeah.
that. And I'm like, hey
Yeah.
man,
Yeah,
ask for
this
help.
is
Don't be like me and be 32 years old and like you still struggling with asking people telling people what you need.
Exactly. Exactly. And entrepreneurship will teach you quickly. Like that's all it
very
is.
quickly.
I need your help. I need your help. I need partnership. I need you to come sit with me. I need you to donate. It's like that's what it's all
Yes.
about with entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
No,
know,
that's amazing.
that's it. I love that, right? Because I think that we are starting to really get a sense of Brian Alexander, the person and the entrepreneur, and I really want to start. I want to drill down into Reframe, right? After you went through all of this in corporate, you birthed something that I think is so dope, right? One of your guides you call Beyond the Hustle, similar, the same name as the workshop that Tish went to, right? And you specifically focusing on building accountability systems that help leaders drive results. So take us in, man. Tell us about the 4E approach framework and how it allows our leaders to scale and thrive without burning out, right? When so
Yeah.
many leaders put themselves in the position to burn out.
Yeah. So the 4E framework, so your edge, your environment, your experience, your emotion, your environment, it came out of a lot of self-experimentation. It was me kind of dealing with my own stuff. Like that's where it came from. So in order for me to come up with that framework, I went through a lot. The first thing was while I was still in corporate and before I transitioned out of corporate, I started to do a lot of silent meditation retreats. So
Mhm.
I still do. I spend 10 days in silence per year. No reading, no writing, no talking. And I do this as a way to just kind of reconnect with myself and listen to myself a little bit more. And so what that helps with is getting clarity as far as what are the things that are going on in my internal environment? What is the internal experience that I'm having with myself right now? Because you can't, on these retreats, you can't really run away from your emotions. You can't run away from your experiences. You can't run away from the exhaustion, guilt, the shame, the joy, whatever it is. You can't really run away from it. So that's kind of where this framework started. The second piece, y'all could ask follow-up questions on that because there's a lot I could share there. But the second piece of this framework really came from an experiment I did for myself a couple weeks ago. I mean, not a couple weeks ago, a couple summers ago in New York City. So New York
Mhm.
City was a place to where I lived there for 4 years, and that's where I feel like I became an adult. I became a man because
Mm.
New York City is a very if you've ever been before, you probably know it's very fast paced. It's the ghetto. Like it's the ghetto if you ain't got
I
no
was gonna,
money. If you work,
I was gonna say you ain't got no choice.
yeah,
New
gotta
York,
figure it
but
out.
to grow up. Yeah.
You gotta figure it out. Essentially, like that's where I was able to understand my edge. That's where I really like was able to not only transition into tech, but I was able to see like just the different things that I'm really good at. And strategic thinking, because I spent so much time observing, strategic thinking is something that I'm really, really good at. And also relationship building too, right? Getting people on the same page, because that's all I was doing during my time in New York, especially building a new friend group, figuring out the things that you want to do. Like it just takes a lot of talking, a lot of connecting. And that's what I was
Yeah.
doing in my work there. Also understanding the importance of environment. So to go back to that New York City story, because I experienced so much growth as a individual, as a man, as a professional in New York City, I decided during that low time and where I was figuring it out, dealing with that burnout, dealing with that depression, I said that, and this is something I literally had a conversation with myself. It's part of the retreats too. If I take the time to kind of recreate the variables or the environment that brought me growth and success before, this might help me with getting out of that depression. This might help me with getting out of that burnout. So I spent a couple summers ago in New York City. Not to say that I was broke. I wasn't broke at the time anymore, but I was
Yeah.
able to just be in that environment. I was able to reconnect with my community. I was able to have some of those similar experiences I had when I first lived in New York City, and just going to tech events, talking to people, connecting with people. And that brought a lot of positive emotion to me. So me actually recreating that environment that brought me growth before, with a few more controlled variables, that actually helped me get out of my own way. It helped me get out of that burnout. It helped me get out of that depression. So the
Mm,
4E framework it helped me also realize realize again my edge, like the way that I think about things, how I provide other people's perspective. Cause I was also doing a little bit of work out there. Like, so I was doing like some business strategy, leadership development strategy work out there as well. And so I was able to do work
okay.
too. So ultimately, like it's self-experimentation, in that understanding, like, despite everything that goes on in your business, there are some variables that every entrepreneur can always have control over. One being their edge. So actually, like, being able to get to their strengths, or the things that they're really good at, the things that energize them on a daily basis or weekly basis.
Yeah.
The second thing, their experience. So just understanding how they function, their internal experience, peak focus hours, being able to know when to rest, being able to know how to recover. And then from there, their emotions. So the things that drain them, the things that fuel them, the things they get really excited about, and how emotions influence their decision, and then their environment. So like having more choice in the way that their desk is set up, where they feel most productive at, the environments that drain them, just being able to understand those are the four things that you can always control as a business owner, because those are the things that help me get out of my depression. Those are the things that help me get out of my burnout.
Yeah. No, that's super important, right? Because I
Yeah.
say it all the time. Like, the things that we go through, our experiences, the things that we overcome, they're not solely for us. We overcome those things, and then because it's connected to somebody else's breakthrough. So for you to, have gone through something, and, this is what you had to put into place to be able to overcome and get out of that space, for you to even be like, okay, let me put this into a framework because I know that it's going to help other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole
Yeah.
different, it's a whole different mind. It's a whole different mind. And so that's amazing where you were able to kind of discover that within yourself, and be like, okay, this is something that can help people around the world,
I started
because
to
it helped
see
me first.
people. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad it's helpful, because I just started to see those patterns in like other business owners and just people in
Yeah.
general's like experience. Like it was, the more people ascended, the more challenging it got. And I was like, I'm
Yes.
going through the same thing. And like when I would talk about my experience with entrepreneurship and what it was teaching me, like, yeah, I was making money, but people were more infatuated with like, I always just tell people like entrepreneurship is like the best personal development experience that I've ever had up to this point,
For
because it
sure.
forces me to look at myself and actually
For
like choose
sure.
to do something different. And people were really like, what do you mean by that? And then I started to break it down a little bit. And I finally was able to put like words to like the different things that I have been dealing with, and the different things that I thought were important for me to
Yeah.
understand, just as a person, but also as a business owner as well. People were like, oh, that's interesting. So I always got that look like, oh, that's very, very interesting the way you put that together. Like you make me actually want to go be an entrepreneur or try it out to see how it might work out for me. So I started to get like feedback around it when I would just talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a huge step to even take into entrepreneurship. And for me, it's like, if I can make six figures in this company, building somebody else's dream, I know that I can do it for myself, because I'm doing it. I'm leading it. I'm in those spaces, in those places. I'm in leadership positions and things like that. I know for sure that I can go over and escape. That's the name of the episode, escaping the success trap. Like I can escape somebody else's success to build my own. Is it going to be easy? No, but it's definitely doable. And so when you jump into it, like, you don't know all that you're jumping into,
Yep.
but you figure it out, and it's like, okay, how can I not, how can I build something but not be burning myself out at the same time? How can I keep my cup full and build a team around me that can experience my overflow, in a sense where they can shine in their lane and things like that, and kind of creating, like you were talking about, environment, creating the environment, um, that maybe you weren't necessarily in the corporate space.
Yep.
So when you were at Good Soil, did you kind of lean on that edge part of your framework when you were deciding, okay, what am I going to present to this room of high level, high capacity leaders and entrepreneurs? And you're like, okay, let me focus on this because this is what I can deliver best. I mean, I'm the only person here at this forum that's going to be able to deliver something like this, like I can, because it was different people that had similar talk, but not your framework.
Yeah, like I think that's again what working in corporate entrepreneurship teaches you. Like you'll get enough feedback as long as you're putting something out there as far as like what makes you
Yeah.
unique. And I had a
Mm-hmm.
feeling that a lot of people were just going to talk at people, but that's not
Yeah,
even the way that I present. I like to invite people into the experience with me.
for
Like
sure.
you're gonna walk away with something. I'm not here to inspire because I think that it kind of just goes back the way that I approach most clients. Like you're creative, you're well resourced, you have all the tools that you
Mm-hmm.
need to figure out your own answers. I just might give you like some frameworks or
Yeah,
in order for you to find
yeah,
your own answers. So when I was putting it together, it was more so because when I put it together, I was gonna go through the whole framework and and then we were gonna be there for 3 hours if that
yeah.
was the
Yeah,
case. If
yeah,
that was the case, we are gonna be there for 3 hours. But I got some feedback from one of my coach friends. She was like, maybe you just need to do maybe one or two. If you were to say what's the
yeah,
most important parts, I would just say, oh, okay, yeah, I can just focus
yeah,
on edge, focus on experience. And so when I put it together, I wanted to, because I just be wanting to give people like a lot and make sure that they had the best experience possible. But I just had to think
yeah,
like, what do entrepreneurs have the most challenges with? So I looked at my own experience. It's just getting wrapped up, not being actually able to do the thing that had you start the business in the first place, the thing that you're really good at. And that's usually
yeah,
because CEOs try to wear all these different hats. CEOs
yep,
try to do everything. It turns from you trying to do anything versus like you choosing not to hire the right people or bring the right people in to help you do the thing. But
yeah,
also, I just know a lot of people in general don't know enough about peak performance, especially like Black people,
mm-hmm,
don't know
yeah,
enough about sleep rhythms because we don't sleep
mm-hmm,
enough, in my opinion. Like it's just like we
yeah,
don't know enough about like how understanding just simply like my peak performance hours or my peak focus times are between 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. and how that can
mm-hmm,
change the way that you actually work, how you set up your calendar, how you
yeah,
actually get the most important stuff done versus saying like, I don't have enough time in the day. Just
yeah,
understanding those things, that information isn't available to us most of the time. So
yeah,
just even understanding that I know nobody's going to talk about this, but how
yeah,
important it is because we so quick to be like, I don't have enough time. Well, first, bro,
yeah,
you're probably not sleeping enough, but also you're not even understanding the way that you're wired. So you can
yep,
actually get the most out of each day. You're just reactive. And I found myself being
yeah,
reactive when I started the business, and I see it with entrepreneurs all the time. Why are you sitting
yeah,
in every sales calls and you got salespeople, right? Like it's just like you don't need to be there. Like go do something else. So
yeah,
I just knew when I was putting together that workshop that I wanted it to be unique, but I just wanted you all to walk with me. I didn't need to feel like I felt like I wanted to make sure you learned something about yourself versus me teaching you something. That was my intention. Like you, like that's simply what it was. I wanted you to learn something new about yourself versus it feeling like I needed to be inspirational or instructional in that
yeah,
experience.
yeah. And that's so important. Like just knowing who
Yeah.
you are and being able to teach in that moment
Mhm.
and figure like what takeaways do you want your audience to have? There are even in I'm a speaker, and so in the speaking industry, there's so many different types of personalities and ways to go about it. And so I don't call myself a motivational speaker or an inspirational speaker. That's I'm not there to hype you up. I'm going to inspire you just naturally. Just based on my gifts and what's flowing through me. But I'm a teacher at heart. And these are the takeaways that I want you to have. This is how I want you to be able to transform. So these are the things that if you implement these things, you'll see some change in some way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what I go for. And that sounds like, very similar in your lane because, you know, you want to have, as a speaker, you want to have a 90-minute keynote, you want to have a 60-minute, you want to have a 30-minute, you want to have a 10-minute, you have a 3-minute. So I know, okay, if I got a 10-minute, these are the things that I want to hit on because these are the things that are most important. And so that's just knowing your personality, your edge, and your introvert like I am as well.
Yeah.
And because a lot of that stuff, trying to even be somebody else and bring whatever somebody else is going to bring to the table, it's draining for us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now that, and talking about time, that's something I don't have time for. To be drained trying to do
Yeah. I'm not,
something that, we're not doing that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not Tony Robbins. I'm not Tony Robbins. I'm not none of them.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not screaming and hollering. That was something,
Yeah.
when I was a collegiate coach, just one of the first head coaches that I worked for, high impact, yelling all the time. And he wanted me to do that. And I flat out told him, I'm not doing that. I want to live a long life. I don't need my brain, my veins popping out of my head. I am going to be more effective saying the same thing or trying to get the same point across. And I can say it right here in this tone. And it's going to be effective for me and for the athlete. If you want something else, I'm not the person. And we worked together for a very long time and had a lot of success.
Yeah.
Say what?
Imagine you with no yelling. I couldn't imagine you yelling and screaming on the sideline.
It's not even necessary. It's not necessary. To me,
Yeah,
it's not.
no, it ain't.
It's not, because I can say it's kind of like our parents growing up. Like my mom she never had to yell at me for me to know when she was serious. Like it's tone fluctuations. Like not yelling. I'm not doing it. I want my voice the next day.
Yep. Yep. That's how I was as a football coach in high school. Never yelling. Like, hey, come here, son. Come here. Like, let me talk to you real quick.
I can't. I coach freshmen, so they need a little yelling. They need just a little bit, not crazy. Freshmen, you gotta talk to them a little bit more rough. You gotta get that bug out you because they freshmen.
Hey, you could be sharp still. You could be sharp. You could be very sharp.
Sure.
That's how. Yeah, that's how I usually am. Like I could be very sharp with my words.
Yeah, have some heat of the moment. Moments. Yeah. Shout out to my former athletes. that I go ahead, see.
You said something that I was thinking about. As two introverts on the call, if y'all haven't noticed, I'm not too much of an introvert, even though I do got my limit on my extrovertedness because people can be draining. But this idea that y'all are very observational. And one of the things that really stood out, Brian, is walking us through how Reframe, the framework the 4 E's came to be, was that you had to get to quote the good poet laureate, Nasir Jones, you had to have a knowledge of self. It's a certain self-realizations and in order that you have to have and reflectiveness to hold yourself accountable, to know, hey, this environment ain't good for me, right? These people, this team isn't good. Like you have to know yourself in a very intimate way in order to have those real conversations. Like me and Teach talk often about entrepreneurial space, just professional space, about how often folks self-sabotage and don't ever have enough cognizance to realize the call is coming from inside the house. You didn't set yourself up. That's why things played out this way. It's not a conspiracy theory against you. And once you have that realization, now you can start doing that real work, right? What do I need to do, right? My locus of control.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about a time where we really didn't know who we was. You played college football at DePaul University. Now, I don't know about y'all in college, but I was still trying to figure out who I was. But so I want you to tell us about, that journey of being a collegiate athlete and what elements of your time and your routine in sports helped you continue to build throughout the years to get in the position that you are now.
That's a good question. And I know sports have always just been a place for just connection for me. Like I think that as a true introvert, like it just brings something else out of me. Like sports has always, especially football, has just been more of an outlet for any anger, aggression, but also a place where I've met some of my best friends. So that's all it really takes for me to show up because when you're a little bit more, when you're a little bit quieter, it's usually harder for you to, when you're younger, it's definitely harder for you to find connection. So I really played sports, not only as just an outlet, but it was just a community or a sense of community for me because, like you just with a group of men that are working towards like the same goal, which is to win. And, that did something for me. Like, it's just like, I like being in a room full of extroverted, loud people because it actually energizes me. So sports also just helps me with just discipline. Like, it's just, I was always a very disciplined person, but it just provided a little bit of structure for my life because my life growing up wasn't always like structured. Like, I had to put stuff in place for myself in order to actually like be on this path. And football was always there as a place that provided structure. It taught me the value of just taking care of your body. It taught me the value of just showing up every day, no matter how you're feeling. It taught me the value of education and how, like, if you don't apply yourself, you can't play. So you might as well open a book. Sports is something that I just have gained family, friends, discipline, habits, all these things from, and it just teaches you like to show up. It teaches you like how to just, sometimes like you just showing up is enough, right? Like every day you're not going to feel like it, but you just have to find a way. And also you have people there that are also going to help you show up as well. Like, it's not always about you. It just gives you an avenue to just grow. Football at DePaul was just like, I played 3 out of the 4 years that I was there. And the thing about, just being observant is that I had found that over time, by the time my junior year came around, I played for most of my junior year, but it was one day that I started to feel the enthusiasm for the sport kind of start to leave me. And I wasn't mad about it. Like, I just was like, I don't know. I think because I had gained a community, like I had so many other interests that I didn't know that I had by that time, that my interest for football had just changed. Like, it was just like, I didn't want to practice every day. And I was doing all the stuff at that point. And I was like, oh, great. Like, this is great. At that point though, it didn't hit the same because I had, I just had community. I started opening books and just started to actually like read and, just understand myself in different ways. And, it's like, why do I like playing football so much? Like, all these questions were starting to come up during my junior year. And I just decided like, I think I've taken this as far as I could. Not only just from a just playing standpoint, but it's just like, I'm not going to the NFL. Like, it's just like, it is what it is. Like, it's cool. I'm not going to the NFL, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I also have these other interests outside of this that can keep me occupied, that I can explore. So if anything, football was just like a teacher for the most part. And because when I let it go, it wasn't like have this void that I need to be filled in my life. It's like, nah, look at how far it's taken you. Look how like you've gotten like your friends, you've opened a book and started to apply yourself a lot differently. You think critically about, just you as a person. Like, it's just been a teacher.
And I'm glad you said that, brother, because like I feel like I shared in one of our early episodes that feeling. I felt the opposite when the game was over. I played 3 out of 4 years. You from Chicago, so maybe you've heard of Beloit College, small D3 school. That's why I knocked around heads, and I had to quit because I had 2 concussions within 3 weeks of each other. My junior year, one during the game, came back, got another one in practice, and was like, same revelation. I am a 5'9", 195 pound linebacker. I don't run a 4.5. Can't really cover that well. Can just hit. Not going to the league.
Yeah.
I might want to protect my brain. But even in quitting, I felt that void. Like, I had other things. I was a theater major, was in a fraternity, but still like, but this game is giving me so much. And I'm so glad now you've given me something to reframe that. All right, dad jokes all day. They're coming. Oh, it's not the void of the game being gone. It's look what it's given me. Look how far I've come because of this game that I love. And like, you learn after the game is over, right? You coach, I coach, teach coach. There's still ways to be involved in the game, right? That doesn't involve me
sure.
having to go out there and hurt myself no more, right?
Uh-huh.
That's a blessing
Right.
all its own.
Yeah, that concussion. Yeah, I had that was a part of it too. Like I got the first known concussion I got in college. And I started all
Mm,
throughout high school, and I was like, it was like everything was blurry. Like it was
Mhm.
like session test was hard. Say the alphabet backwards. I was like, I
I don't
can't do
know.
that. Like it's just
Yep.
like I was like, like I didn't like this. Like somebody had to stay with me the whole night, and I was just like, this is all right. Like what's going on? What are we doing? All right. Like are we really about to get another concussion, or are we gonna continue this? How much longer can you continue
yeah.
with this?
Yeah, no,
Bro.
I knew. Still, they still, they still fighting to pay us on the women's side in basketball. So we knew that wasn't the route. But yeah, tell me, like, what skills from your time working with giants like Google, Airbnb, what skills from working with those different clients have become like surprising advantages in this space of running a coaching and consulting business?
You get to see like because it's tech, like things move fast. So you
Mm-hmm.
understand how to move fast, like you understand how to ideate pretty quickly on just
Yeah.
certain projects. Like let me see, what's an example? I'll take it back to the startup that I was working on. One of the first startups that I was a consultant for. It was with professional athletes, USA track and field athletes, and they were building a platform to technology to help with the transition from from their sport to like
Mm-hmm.
just regular careers. And it was just a whole platform they had built out. And I had to build out a lot of the back end experience behind the technology, and that had to be done fairly quickly. And that's just the thing that I've picked up on in tech. Like things are just built fairly quickly, and it's just tested.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to bring in the right people. You have to know who's in the room. You have to know when something is broken. All right, who do I need to go
Mm-hmm.
to go fix it quickly?
Yeah.
Things have to be built fairly quickly because we want to hurry up and just try it out to see if it works or not. So if anything,
Got you.
it's taught me about not to tinker too much. Like and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's important with entrepreneurship because it's like, yeah, like stuff is gonna break. Like it's not gonna be
For sure.
perfect. You got to get that data or feedback as soon as possible
Yep.
and be able to iterate quickly from there so you can figure out what's next. So I would say
Yeah.
like tech, Google, Uber, Airbnb, you just
Mm-hmm.
realize like the importance of just get something out there because being a strategic thinker, sometimes what happens is I might tend to just tinker with things too much. I might, nah,
Yeah.
this ain't ready yet, or this ain't that yet, or what if
Yeah.
this happens? Like, how do I solve for that? It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
nah, just put it out there. Like, it
Get it
doesn't have
out.
to be perfect. You'll know if it works or not if you just put it out there. So that's, I think, the
Yep.
biggest thing that I've learned working with companies like that.
Yeah. It's very, very important. That's one of the things, that I learned where like put it out there because you're solving a problem. And if you've got a good solution, other problems should come up
Yeah.
and you're in place to solve them.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. So
Exactly.
if you're sitting there trying to solve every problem off rip, like, this is going to come up. Oh, what if this happens?
Yeah.
Like, get the feedback, see what's happening. And if you're doing it right and it's a good solution, there should be more problems for you to solve. And that's how
Exactly.
a business grows and scales and you're able to, make multiple iterations of something of that, nucleus that you've built.
Yeah, yeah. I would just add to that too, like if I ever wanted to build a product to see how things are built at a Uber or Airbnb, like how software is used and things like that. Even though I'm not a technical person, I know how the things work. And I
Yeah.
think that
Important.
even just knowing how things work is really
Mm,
important because before that software, there is a human process that's involved in that. So being that I'm able to be knowledgeable on that human process behind the software and then be able
mm-hmm.
to combine that with understanding like languages, frameworks, processes, product development, life cycles, and things like that. That's applicable to all types of business, but especially if you want to build an app or a product, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about Calm.
Yeah.
Calm, you're a health and wellness advisor with Calm, which is for the viewers, the listeners that don't know, it's a wellness meditation sleep app. And I love it. I've been using it for the past 6 years. Like, I use it faithfully, routinely. I started using it when I first started coaching collegiate women's basketball, because that's a whole different realm, going from high school coaching to college. And that's when I was working with that particular coach. Like, no, I need to keep my mind right,
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
space, because everything can come down to wins and losses and all of that. And the stress levels are escalated much, much higher. But yeah, so just tell us, like, how did that relationship start? And how do you integrate Calm's mission into some of your practices when it comes to mental wellness, and your frameworks that are, kind of focused on, focus and recovery?
Yeah. Calm was a full circle moment.
Mm,
When I was really going through my depression, my burnout,
mm,
this is where like the silent meditation retreat started to come in. It started at a place to where like, I pray. Um, I believe in God. I was raised in a Christian household.
mm,
And at the time what I was going through, not only just had Uber, but also with myself, but I was just going through a lot. And talk therapy just wasn't enough for me. Like, and I was like, like pray the pain away wasn't enough for me.
yeah.
So I just started to get curious. And I was like, it's gotta be something else that I can do to kind of alleviate this stress, this anxiety that I have going on. So what I started to do, I went on YouTube and I was like, let me actually like try this meditation. And I found a calm app video and it was just 5 minutes. And I was
Mm,
like, okay, like I feel better. Something is different. And I just started practicing like every day just on YouTube.
mm,
And so that's where it started. And I got so curious and so into meditation that, I decided that, I want to really like explore like what this is. So,
mm,
um, the end of that year, I think that was 2021 or yeah, I think that was 2021. I decided to go on a silent meditation retreat. Didn't know much about it. It's called Vipassana. And I was just
mm,
like, I went to Spirit Rock Meditation Center in California. And the reason that I went, I didn't know a lot about it. I just was like, 7 days in silence. I'm quiet. I'm introvert. I can get away from people. I got to talk to nobody. But I'm there. I'm there.
sign
Like,
me up.
what the other thing was like all the instructors, it was 5 instructors and 3 of them were Black. And I was like,
Okay.
this is interesting. Like, it just, like, I'm not saying like I'm sold just off that, but it just makes you feel a little bit more comfortable if you try in something like this. I mean, they were all Buddhists. And the thing about it, before I went on that trip, I didn't know that this had anything to do with Buddhism, honestly. I didn't know a lot about it. I didn't read too much. I just kind of showed up like, hey, I'm looking for some help. Like, that's all it was.
Yeah.
Like, it was just kind of, so when I got there to California, it was an hour outside of San Francisco. People just came up to me like, is this your first retreat? I was like, yeah. And then they were like, 7 days? Like, you want to sit in 7 days for your first? Because usually people start with like a weekend, maybe a day or
Yeah.
two. They were like, you jump straight into it with 7 days. I was like, yeah, like, why not? It's like, wow, okay. But
You should have known now.
exactly. So I kid you not, I didn't know that it was a Buddhist retreat first. I knew it had something to do with Buddhism, but I didn't know nothing about Buddhism at that point. I was just like, I've been meditating, let me explore. But I kid you not, it was one of the most enlightening experiences that I've ever had before. And I don't use that lightly. I'm not a dramatic person because it was the first time that I couldn't run away from myself. Like, I actually like heard myself, if that makes sense. You would think because I'm quiet that I'm always listening to myself. What you find is that, and Tish, you probably know, we come off as laid back when we're introverted, but we're usually going crazy
Yeah.
inside. We usually like trying to
Yeah.
like control, trying to like play out all these different
Exactly.
paths in our head. Like, if this
Yes.
happens, then I'm gonna do this. If that happens, but I couldn't run from that. I couldn't run from the exhaustion that I had. I couldn't run from like the shame, the guilt, the everything that I was carrying from my childhood. Like, all these different things just kind of came up because you spend the first like maybe 3 days like losing your mind, basically. Like, you expect me to just sit here and like not speak for several days. Like, I have so much that I need to say. And I just felt it moves you from just thinking about the stuff to actually like feeling all the stuff that you need to feel
Mm,
and that you might
yeah.
need to let go. So that retreat that first retreat taught me so much about it really fueled my interest in meditation, but
Mm,
also just like how I wanted to choose the person I needed to be for myself moving forward.
yeah.
And so I tell that story because I went on another retreat the year after because I do them once a year. And then I saw an opportunity at Calm and I was like, man, this is the Calm app. Like, who knows like what's gonna happen? So I just reached out. I was like, hey, like, it's this opportunity. Like, let's like, I'm curious. Like, would I be able to have a conversation about this opportunity? So, I sent a little video of myself, like the whole pitch and everything like that. Cause it was just like, if I got a chance to work at a combat, like it's been a big, like part. Cause I
Yeah.
had a paid prescription. I was meditating every day. I tried to keep a meditation streak going up to that point, and they got back
Mm,
to me in like a day. And so we just started having
wow.
conversation. I went through a few rounds of them, like just me doing like mock workshop sessions and all this stuff on mental health, and I did a session on like stress and how it's processed in the body, cortisol levels, and
Mm,
things like that. And it worked out. Like 2 years later, after my first retreat, now working as an advisor at Calm, and it was just surreal because that app supported me a lot, went through just my journey and understanding myself more, finding peace, trying to recover, finding those places of like, all right, you don't have to wake up and be upset today. You can wake up and do something else. Like it was just a full circle moment, just reaching out and just like seeing an opportunity and just going for it because yeah, I didn't think that I was going to get it because even when I got there, they were like, it's like thousands of people that reach out to us around the world for this opportunity. So you getting this, don't take that lightly. And they weren't saying that in a facetious way. They were just saying like, just know you're supposed to be here, right? Like it was thousands of people we had to kind of that reached out for the opportunity, and we chose you.
man, that's so
And that's just
beautiful.
letting you know that we believe in you, right?
Yeah,
Letting you know
yeah,
as you walk into the state, like,
yeah.
hey, we got you. We wouldn't have gave you the opportunity if it
Hmm.
wasn't yours. And I think
Yeah.
somebody need to hear that. Like, stop waiting for you to be qualified. You were
Yeah,
qualified when the call came out. If you weren't, like, he wouldn't even picked up the phone if you weren't
exactly.
already qualified. You're supposed to be in these rooms, y'all. So thank you for sharing that, Brian.
Of
Yeah.
course.
And take risks. Take risks. If you see something and you want it, go after it. What's
We'll get it.
Yeah.
what's the worst they could have done? Told you no. And you move on.
I
Or
would have
you
been
or
mad.
you get,
I would have been mad if they would have
get
told
better.
me no, but yeah,
You
yeah, I would have been
See?
mad.
All
I'd
right,
have been
you work
mad.
through it.
Yeah, but yeah,
Let's get the app off the phone and we go get
yeah.
Some else sign up for us. They don't want me.
but yeah, just nah, it is. And and I find myself because like I use it, I use it for sleep a lot, the sleep stories for sure. But I find value in just being able to just pause and do breath work and things like that. But for me, so for some people, like it's definitely a fine line. For me, it's not this spiritual thing. Like I don't just want to disassociate from everything. For me, I get to pause. I get to meditate on the scripture at the same time for me in my life. But I can, like you said, like I get into a space where I can really process the thoughts that I'm having and be okay with that because some people, they don't even try meditation because they think it doesn't work or they can't get to a point where they can just pause and be quiet when like you need to just stop because those are when you can just pause and just think and or not think about different things, you get mental clarity, you feel better, you have more energy, all of these things. But they don't, most people don't, they don't think that they can get to that place or they see it as some type of task to be able to do because it's going to be hard. When you can literally start with 5 minutes of guided meditation in some sense, and then kind of work your way to where you can just kind of do it on your own a little bit. I know for me, like it calms me down, before a talk, whatever it is. So yeah, different people use it for different reasons, but I think it's very, very valuable. I don't believe that like this should be your, like meditation is like, it's nobody's God in a sense, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I always emphasize to people. Like even when I'm teaching meditation or I'm teaching a workshop at Calm, if you're religious, in my
Hmm.
opinion, it just helps amplify your practice. Like because
Yeah.
it takes it from like it takes it from the words that you use for myself. I'll just
Hmm.
use myself. It takes it
Yeah.
from the words that I say during a
Hmm.
prayer to
Yeah.
actually just listening, right? Like it's
Yeah.
just like, it moved me from a place of like, all right, I'm looking outside of myself for these things when ultimately, like, I believe that God is within all of us. Like, God is always
Yeah.
around us. And it just, in meditation combined with prayer, it just helps me listen to hear that voice. It kind of removes all of the noise out the way and it helps me listen
Hmm.
a little bit. It makes listening easier.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
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 It's not a it takes it from being that one-sided conversation.
Yep.
If
Yep.
when you're looking, you can say, you want, whomever you believe in, you want them to respond to you or give you this idea or whatever it is, but you never pause to even listen. And it's a one-sided conversation.
Yeah, most of the answers are right there. Like it's just
Yeah.
about pausing long enough to be like, okay,
To realize it. Yeah.
I need to do this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, amazing.
And in that vein, I want to go back to something that you said earlier. You were talking about the peak performances and how we get a rhythm in our schedule, right? You in some of the social media videos you post on like your IG page, you mentioned something called scalable rhythm. And
Yeah.
if folks listening like me, first time I've seen those words put together in that way. So could you tell us a little bit more about what you mean when you say scalable rhythm, and then dig a little deeper about what's a recent time where you've had to apply your own design for recovery principle?
Mm.
Yeah. So scalable rhythm. What I mean by that is just understanding that biologically we all have like natural rhythms in the way that we like function. When it like comes to our best times to do deep work, our best times to do admin work, it's like stuff like that, right? Like the times in the day to where we feel our most energized, the times in the days where our energy just drops. That's about sustainable rhythm. And everybody has kind of like a biological clock that follows this rhythm, and it doesn't change that much as you grow older. So, the best way to explain it is that everybody has a chronotype. Like, this is what I talked about at TD Jakes. Chronotypes are basically the the way that we kind of like our sleep schedule for the most part. That's how I'll explain it for now. And some of us are lions, some of us are bears, some of us are wolves, and some of us are dolphins. All right. So without getting too much into it, basically the lion is going to be the individual who is known as like an early bird. So it's like, you have a lot of energy in the morning. You know, those annoying people that love to just talk to you in the morning, like those early AM, like they just
Yeah.
pop out of bed ready to have a conversation. Those are the lions, right? Just ready to go,
Hmm.
6 AM, ready to have a conversation. And then you have the bears, who basically are people who probably like their rhythm or their peak focus times are between like 7 and 12 PM, right?
Hmm.
7 AM and 12 PM.
Hmm.
And these are people who just kind of rise with the sun and go down with the moon. So it's just like they're basically like they just have a natural rhythm in that when the sun is up, that's probably when they're most energized and they're ready to go. When the sun goes down, they're probably in bed by 10 for the most part, right? 10, 11 o'clock. That's like 55% of the population. And then you have
Hmm.
your wolves. And your wolves are also are just people that work late at night, right? So these are people who have like their peak focus times can be like between 10 AM and 2 PM. And they also might work to like from 5 to 8 PM in the evening as well. Right. And they go to sleep a little bit later, maybe like 1 AM, 2 AM. And then lastly, you have your dolphins. And your dolphins are people who kind of like these people are known to have a little bit more anxiety. So they have bursts of energy throughout the day, and they usually don't
Hmm.
sleep. They don't sleep the best. Like they're light sleepers for the most part. So
Hmm.
they might have a peak focus time in the morning, and then they might all of a sudden have a peak focus time in the evening. But that's a
Hmm.
very small part of the population. So I'm telling you these things because these rhythms are important to understand because it helps you sustain whatever performance that you're looking for, especially in times of busy seasons. You're able to set up your
Yeah.
calendar in a way to where like you can get the most important things done, right? Nothing falls to the side. You're able to understand yourself a little bit more and how you function when you can focus the most, when you can get the most work done and block off
Yeah.
that time for your day. So
Yeah.
sustain is really just understanding like how you function biologically, right? Like, what are the times of the day that you're going to feel most productive? I'll use myself as an example. I
Mm-hmm.
am a lion, right? I function as a lion, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm up early, right? So during that time, I'm probably going to be working on, but I believe my calendar is set up to where like 7 a.m. I'm probably doing like some work around like strategic thinking about something in the business. It, content creation. It can be maybe I have a strategy call or a consultation call with a client and I want to prepare for that.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are that's what kind of consumes that 7 a.m. time slot for myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
As the day goes on, I'm able to kind of take whatever strategic work that I had in that block and start to bring
Mm-hmm.
it into like new meetings that I'm having throughout the day, whether it's a potential
Yeah.
client, whether it's a coaching client, whether it's just stuff I need to emails I need to send, whatever. I'm able to take that strategic block and then I'm able to bring it into the day and take action on those things. By the time 3 o'clock rolls around, my energy is pretty low, right? I get very
Mm-hmm.
irritable and I know that. So I don't make any decisions, like usually like big
Mm-hmm.
decisions during the 3
Yeah.
to 4 p.m. After 3 p.m., you probably won't get a lot of big decisions out of me. It's
Yeah.
probably just admin work. Maybe I need to send some emails, like, but I'm
Yeah.
very irritable during that time. And then my energy kind of picks back up late into the night. Right. So that's just how I know, like, that's a sustainable rhythm for me and just simple awareness of it. I'm not surprised by it. It's like, if I
Mm-hmm.
got something I need to get back to, I know that my energy is going to pick up probably like around 8 o'clock to where I can like do something. I can take a small action on a strategic task or something like that, or just prepare for the next day so I can have it
Yeah.
done or in that 7 a.m. block for the next day. So that is kind of like the detailed overview of it. I don't know if how
Yeah.
many people caught that, but just look up chronotypes and that can be a way
Yeah.
for you to understand how you can start to create that sustainable rhythm for yourself.
Well, our listeners write stuff down. Let
Okay.
me put that
Got
out
you.
there, Brian. They didn't heard
Got you.
that enough. I'm sure they wrote that
Got you.
down. And the age of technology, if you missed it, rewind it.
Yeah. Hit that little 10 seconds, 15 seconds, rewind it if you need to.
For sure, for sure. And it is so important. I was telling C the other week, I think last week, I'm like, for me, like I used to get up, pray, hit the gym early, 5:30, whatever. I'm hitting the gym. But I've gotten to this flow where it's like now, and when then like when I would come back home, that's when I would dive deeper and go into Bible study and things like that. And then going about the rest of my day. But for me now, it's like I do all of that work ahead of time. It makes for an even better workout. So like I pray and I do my Bible study and my worship and just spend all of that time. I front load it. And then my workouts are amazing. And then I've
Yeah.
got energy. It takes me all the way. Like it'll take me to the time where, like, if you see my calendar now, like 12 o'clock, I'm going for a walk, to keep that going. 3 o'clock, I'm doing my breath work and things like that because I know, okay, I'm getting it in during a certain time in terms of, this is when I'm doing client meetings, and things like that. And this is when I'm going to need a reboost so that I can, handle this, the second half of meetings or whatever it is that I have on my calendar. And so just knowing yourself and being willing to, because sometimes we put ourselves in these routines that we have seen from other gurus and things like that when it doesn't work for you, and your flow. I'm just like, find your flow, and if
Yeah.
for me, I'm in bed 9:30. If I have an idea of something, I might wake up, thank God, praise God for the iPhone feature now where you can type the message in and schedule it to be sent out later. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? But just learning yourself and figuring out what works for you and scheduling your day around it, I think is super important to know your energy. Yeah, no, that's vital.
Just to add to that, because I'm glad that you said that. Like having fixed recovery is a part of sustainable rhythms. Like I used to go to the gym at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., but I found myself having like a lot of good, in general, you get a lot of good ideas in the gym, but I found that like the
Yeah.
time where I'm just like, big picture, like, how do I want to, like, I got this thing that I need to get down on paper. I found myself in my notes app in the gym. Like, this is my old routine where
Yeah.
like, this needs to, like, I need to sit down and actually do this. Cause by the time I'm out the gym, it's like, it's in my notes, but I'm not going to like
Yeah.
probably take action on it. And so I had to adjust my schedule to where, all
Yeah.
right, I can't go to the gym as early as I used to. Maybe that time is just
Mm.
reserved for this big picture thinking, really
Yeah.
focused time. Gym is now a recovery for me for later in the day so that 3
Yeah.
p.m. doesn't hit me as bad. Like 3 p.m., my energy still
Exactly.
lowers, but because I now have fixed in my recovery time is the gym, it's easier for me to have a sustainable and predictable rhythm when it comes to like my energy level. So I had to switch that up because I used to be 5
Yeah.
a.m. gym, but I found that I have all these ideas, like all this stuff is coming up. Like let me like, and I'm more distracted with the ideas than actually getting through the workout.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's just giving yourself grace and time to even figure that out. I think it's important. Amazing. So just kind of looking back, what piece of advice that do you know now, like just based on your athletic career or even, different, spaces and places within your life, what do you know now that you may have learned in athletics or maybe you got from a guru or something like that, that if you were to implement that thing into your daily life or even into business, that it would hurt you?
Hurt me?
Yeah. Like, so I was listening to a podcast the other day, well, just like snippets of it with Jeezy, a rapper, which I don't listen to that type of music anymore, but it's just like, he was saying like, cause he's such a businessman and he's like the things that he used to rap about. So he was like, one of the things is sleep when you die. And he's like, yeah, I don't know about that. He's like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
nowadays that's not something that, that he would actually advocate for or put out into the world. Right. So what's something, if you just didn't sleep, like he knows that that's something that would hurt him if he never slept. You know what I'm saying? So what's something
Yeah.
that you may have been taught that, like would definitely hurt you in your business?
I think just tough it out. And what I mean by that is what you learn as a business owner is that you have to become really comfortable with your own story. Like it's really not about being tough. It's about perseverance. It's about endurance for sure. But people are buying you not because of like what you can do for them. They buy you because of how you make them feel. They have to be able to see themselves in you, no matter if it's a software, no matter because with a software, you got to pitch to investors. With a service-based business, you got to live your rhymes for the most part, right? People have to be able to see themselves in you
For sure.
because I was taught that nobody needs to see all that. That's the soft work. Like, people
Yeah.
just need to see the end product. Like, that's all it is. Like, what you find is that when I walk into an organization or when I'm on the phone with an organization that I might want to work with, they
Yeah.
know what I do. They talk to probably like 100 other people that do similar work to what I do, but they want to know like what's my story, right?
Yeah.
Why should I bring you in to work with this team of executives versus somebody else who has the degree from Harvard or has like this vanity metric? Like
Yeah.
what's the thing about you? And what I had to do was like just be comfortable with the parts of my stories that I was usually uncomfortable to share. Like during my time in nonprofit, like I had a manager that was racist, and she like she put me in a place for sure, and I used to be ashamed to tell that story. And then I had to realize like that story is probably a part of the work why I do what I do. So just getting comfortable with that and bringing that up in conversation, like here's what I've been through, right? Here's why I think it's important for your team, and this is how I can help. That's what they care about. They don't care as much about the service is like a product of them. The service that they get is a product of them, of you making them feel something or you relating to them. Because I also know business owners that the product is trash, but because like you make people feel something, They just keep
Yeah.
buying. They like, I don't care. Like, you just are talking directly to me. It's a
McDonald's ice
terrible.
cream machine
Exactly.
that ain't never
Exactly.
working.
Exactly. Like, you make me feel something though, right? And
Yeah.
I was taught to just tough it out. Like, you
Mm.
don't let people see you sweat. And in some instances, I'm still like working through that too. I'm not perfect at it for sure, but you don't let people see you sweat. It's it's a but the most important thing you can do as a business owner is share your story, because that's how you actually get people to
Mm.
buy stuff from you. They don't
Yeah.
care about, like, it could be the best product in the world. They don't know nothing
Yeah.
about you, then why would I buy it? Why would I buy it?
Exactly.
Why would I buy it? Like,
Exactly.
it's just it's as simple as, like, it's as simple as what's an example I can use that I've seen before? Just for I'll just use myself. Early on in my business, when I stopped focusing so much on, like, here's what the engagement is going to be like for your clients and here are the outcomes, like,
Mhm.
leading with that. That's what I used to lead with. Like, I used to lead with, like, here's my process, here's how I work. And I probably
Yeah.
got most of my no's because of it. But when I was actually in front of people and I started saying, well, this is my story and this is why I started this business
Mhm.
in the first place. And then we talked
Mhm.
about the process and the pricing. That's when people say yes more
Yeah.
often.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
It's saying yes to you, right?
Yes.
I
Exactly.
Yes.
love
Yeah.
that
Yes.
realization. Like when the light got on, is like before they buy anything from you, they got to say yes to you,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Exactly.
The product is, just an add-on. It's a
Yep.
gift, if you
For
will.
sure.
But they gotta like you. We don't buy stuff from people that we don't. We shouldn't.
Exactly.
Sometimes we do go name brand. People that don't
Exactly.
treat us right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That know, like, and trust is so important. Yeah, for sure. Especially, when it comes to sales, like you make that, essentially the sales pitch, as you call it, like that comes way later on because you've developed, a micro relationship with this person and they can see themselves within you, or like the questions that you're asking, the conversation that you're having, they've already decided before you even ask for their business that what you have to offer is the solution that they need. So in a
Uh-huh.
sense, they're selling themselves. And that's an art, but it's something that is, I think it's a gift as well. Like it comes from within.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's super important. Super important.
Definitely a call. Definitely a call. And in
Yeah.
that vein, Doc, you know, I I really want to ask you more about reframe coaching and the consulting work that you do. As we talk about really selling the story and the person, what's the bigger picture impact that you want for your business, right? Not just on an individual level, but on the industry as a whole and the communities that you serve.
My bigger picture is to challenge what we call high performance today. I think that high performance is defined as grind yourself down, and then recover, repeat, and then it's just this
Hmm.
repetitive process of starting new things, grinding yourself down, getting in the zone. You're in the zone for too long, and then next thing you know,
Hmm.
you burnt out. You don't know what you do. Like, you just see it with too many successful people. Like, they tell you the story of, like, my first business, my second business, it failed. I was working 36, I was working 60 hours a week. And then finally around the third or fourth business, that's when it clicked. Done this, and this. And I get that those are lessons, but I guess, yeah, you get it. You hear it all the time. And my bigger mission is to challenge what we call high performance. And this is
Hmm.
where understanding our rhythms, understanding our edges, understanding our emotions, our experience, our environment, like, those things help us define high performance for ourselves. And so I want to be able to help people better understand how they actually embody high performance, right? Being able to get in the zone, but also creating space for recovery, rest, and how that actually helps you be a better professional or be a better executive. Like, I like to really help people really understand that, you know, a part of high performance is understanding what success actually is for you, right? Are you following the blueprint? Are you following the book that was written for somebody else, or are you writing your own book? And that is a big
Hmm.
part of understanding what high performance is, and understanding, like, the success trap as well, because we tend to just do what everybody else has done before, and then we're surprised that it doesn't work for us. So just understanding there's choice in how you pursue success, there's choice in how you partake in the work that you do, and that there's not
Mm-hmm.
one path to success. There's multiple paths that you take. It's just about the choice, because I think that a part of that high performance, a part of that success piece is that we feel like we should do this. We should do that. We should do this, or we should ourselves to death. And we wonder why we get nothing done. We get nothing done because we're not making choices. We're just doing the
Mm-hmm.
things we feel like we should do. So understanding that every day that you wake up is a choice, right? The agreements that you make with yourself every day are choices that you make with yourself, right? How you perceive the day, how you perceive opportunity, all those things are choices. So that's the bigger mission beyond Reframe, beyond any business that I do. I want business owners to have more choices and understanding like, hey, this doesn't have to be $1 million business. It can be a $500,000 business. Are you okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Are you chasing $1 million because somebody told you to go get $1 million? Or are you chasing it because you actually want it? Like,
Mm-hmm.
for executives, like how you lead, like, why do you feel like you have to do everything? Right? It's a choice to
Mm-hmm.
feel like you need to be a problem solver 24/7, because that's what I'm running into with a lot of executives. They don't know how to let go. You can have less stress if you just empower your direct reports just to do what they need to do or do what they're really good at. That's a choice to be stressed out. It's a choice to have all this anxiety because you can't let go. So those are the things that I really want to make sure that people understand. That's my bigger mission. That's my bigger purpose, like helping people understand choice, helping people choose the path that they feel is right for them versus feeling like they have to follow somebody else's book instead of writing their own.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the
Mm-hmm.
bigger thing for me, because if you look at my career, like, I don't know how I got here. Like, it's just kind of like okay, I guess this is where we going. Like, it wasn't a blueprint though. I didn't
Yeah.
really have a lot of people to be like, to tell me like, hey, go
Mm-hmm.
this way. So,
For sure.
but it is what you make it.
We
For
should
sure.
ourselves to death. Put that on a shirt, boy. That's the word. We
Yeah.
should ourselves to death.
Yeah. Ooh, I pray you continue to do this work because it's so, so necessary. Because I think there's a balance. I think like on one side, I think it's super important to have coaches and mentors within your life. And they have a blueprint, they have an outline for, what has worked for them and some methods that they may use to scale their businesses and things like that. So I think you have to be a learner and be coachable, but I also think that you have to take a look at those things and figure out ways to implement them into who you are, into your life and who you are as an entrepreneur as well, because what works for them may not work for you or even fit who you are as a person, your personality, and what you need in terms of your energy and things like that. And so just figuring out, what parts do you want to take and
Uh-huh.
how you need to scale. I know for me, like there's no part of me that wants to, as a coach, have a challenge every week, online saying, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. I don't want to coach thousands and thousands of people that I never even really meet or I don't even know. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? And I can't really feel like I'm more of an intimate person and things like that. And so it's like, what works for me, what works for my energy, what works for what it is that I truly want. Why do I want to build a multi-million-dollar business? Why do I want to build, $100 million business within the tech space that I can make an exit from? What's the real why behind it? Is it
Uh-huh.
because it's something that I want, or is it something that, somebody else, like those were their dreams, those were their aspirations. That's the work that they were called to do. And so I think that, it's super important, like you say, to ask yourself those questions and figure out what works for you, what doesn't, but be able to push yourself in a sense as well. Like, people
Yeah.
get comfortable too, man. Like, they get content in these spaces and they don't want to grow. So I think there's a very fine line
Yeah,
between the two.
yeah. And to add to that, like after the why, like I believe that the why is, once you figure out the why, if you want to build that multi-million dollar business and you
Hmm.
have a clear why behind it, you have to ask yourself, who do I need to be in order to
Exactly.
actually build this business? Because as we evolve, like it's always a choice in who we're choosing to become as well. We can't just say why. Like, yeah, like why is cool, but are you going to put in the work to become who you need to be in
Hmm.
order to actually be that? Are you going to put in the work to become that multi-million-dollar business owner? Are you going to
Yep.
become the leader? Are you going to choose to become the leader that can actually lead a team of individuals and people to
Yeah.
build a software platform? That takes work in itself too. So I think that's speaking
Exactly.
to your point after like the work that it takes, right? It's not just a
Mm-hmm.
why. We forget like, all
Yeah.
right, I understand the why. Am I
Yeah.
going to choose to be the person that I need to be? Who needs to show up
Yeah.
to
The who's.
actually deliver on this why?
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other who's, once you figure out who you
Uh,
are and who you need to become, who else do you put around you as well?
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Because the how is easy if you have the right who's around you.
Exactly.
Amazing. So yeah, Brian, I mean, you should be extremely proud of what you've done so far, everything that you've accomplished, all that is yet to come. So tell us what's next for Bryant and Reframe. What do we have to look forward to that maybe we can support and our audience can support as well?
Man, I want to continue to work with entrepreneurs.
Mm,
I've found like, like those are who I enjoy truly working with, mainly because like they decided to take a different path. And I think that's what I've
yeah.
always done. And just that transition and growing as an entrepreneur, the different, because I think it's an expedited growth path in itself. Mainly because you
Mm,
have to be able to step up to the occasion every time, and it's going to require you to be uncomfortable. That's why I
mm,
really enjoy working with entrepreneurs, like just that identity and how it evolves as you make more revenue, as you bring in new people into the organization. I really enjoy continuing to work with entrepreneurs. So that's what I say is next. The other thing that I'm working on the side is that I'm working with some AI. I'm like, all right, everybody's in on this AI boom. So
mm,
let me try to get let me work in here. So I'm attempting to work with Tisha, I was telling you about this yesterday.
yeah.
I'm attempting to work with some local businesses, small businesses, specifically tattoo shop owners, to maybe bring some AI into their business to help with customer acquisition. So that's a project that I'm working on the side, but I like to be of service to small business owners because I know that they're
Mm,
usually a little bit more under resourced when it comes to actually building a business that they're proud of. So bringing AI to them is something that I want to, that I'm working on as well. But I'm still working in the tech space, still working with tech entrepreneurs. That's kind of like my bread and butter. But on the side, I got some AI stuff going on.
love it. Love it.
As you preach to the choir right here. We have
Love it.
we're running AI boot camp the next 2 days on campus. So I love
That's
hearing
Yep.
folks who are not trying to fight against the river because there are
no,
people that have very legitimate concerns. I'm with you. But just like with the rise of the internet and the computer, your concerns ain't going to stop this thing from growing.
It's
exactly,
not
And
going
so you
exactly.
better,
anywhere. It's
Especially with
not going
coaching,
anywhere.
especially with
exactly,
coaching. So I'm just trying to figure out how I can, again, ride the wave instead of pushing against it.
hey, it'll be easier for all of us, boy, before, the robots get sentience and then we all stuck. So I want to give you space as well that,
Yeah.
now where can our folks connect with you on social media, right? What's your website? Do you got any giveaways coming up for your guide that folks can try to tap in with? And the big thing is where can they book a coaching session, right? Or express interest
Yeah.
in becoming a client?
Yeah, so you can go to my website. It is www.reframecc, that's two C's, coaching and consulting, cc.com. That's where you can go ahead and book time with me over there and just learn more about what I do. LinkedIn is the best place to like reach out to me at. That's where you could DM me. I have like my booking link on there, so you can just look me up on LinkedIn. That's where you can look up my information. I'm not on Instagram as much, but if you want to follow me there, I do share stuff from time to time on there. You can look me up there at Coach Bryant _.
Nice,
I
y'all
love
will be able to find all of it in the
I
description
love
as
it.
well.
Yeah. It'll be in the description. By the way, I love your Instagram videos you've been putting out. See,
Appreciate it.
he walks into the room, the mic's already there, picks up the mic, sits down in the chair, says what he has to say for about 30 seconds or so, a minute, and then puts the mic down and walks off. That's it.
Hey,
I'm in and out delivering this
man,
word. You got it. Out of
man,
there.
listen.
I love
Simple,
it.
simple, man. Like and Instagram is where I just have fun at. Like I think Instagram is fun. The algorithms are too complicated for me to understand, so I just have fun over there. So yeah, more of those videos coming up. More of those videos coming. But yeah, that's just a fun little project I've been working on.
I love it. Keep it
Yeah.
going. Keep it going.
Appreciate it.
Last question for you here. What message do you want to leave for the aspiring CEO who thinks that they do have to have this huge social following on Instagram or TikTok or all of these other platforms that are out there before they can make a huge impact? What message do you have for them?
Aspiring CEO. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. They they're afraid to get started because they got 100 followers on Instagram and they don't really feel like they should start because they're not where they need to be.
Take some time to understand your own pain.
Mm.
What I mean by that is pain is the thing that usually drives us to solutions. And sometimes we run away from our pain, whether it's like, my pain of vulnerability. Like vulnerability is something that I've never been good at. But as I told you all, like I have to do that in my business on the regular.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, like when we take the time to sit down and understand our pain, that's usually where a business is at because there's so much wisdom there. Like you probably have been through this pain, you've been able to understand it, you've been able to understand all the phases of this pain that you might be dealing with. For me, like I work with people that have gone through burnout, trying to recover from burnout. I understand all the phases that go along with it. But when you take the time to understand it, you'll find that there's wisdom there. And in that wisdom, you could probably start a business. Right? You can probably be of service to somebody else because you're so familiar with that pain. And usually, and just for myself, I hate to see people in pain. So if it's something that they experienced or something that I've experienced and I see other people experience, it's like, all right, make a solution for it. You've been through it. Like, and don't take that for granted. I think that is so important, especially with like your first business or starting a business. Just start with something that you're familiar with, something that you've been through, and just kind of build it from there. That is where I would get started at. Then just like reach out to people, start having conversations, DM them like, hey, like, thank you for the like on the last post. Like, you mind like setting up a call so we could just talk through like, what made you like the last post or just get to know each other. I don't need to get into the tactics, but overall, what I found is that our pain has a lot of wisdom, and most businesses are started because somebody had a pain and they took the time to actually solve the pain, and it just so happened to help other people solve the same problem. That is how most businesses start. So if you're an aspiring CEO, understand your own pains, the ones that really light you up, the ones that you've been able to figure out, get really intimate with it. And that's probably where your business is at or your idea is at. And also understand like it doesn't have to start off as like this full on business. Do it part-time, experiment with it, see what works, see what doesn't work. Don't put the pressure on yourself to actually make it a business just yet. Just understand it because you probably have the wisdom and the experience to solve that for other people. So that is my recommendation to the aspiring CEO.
So good. So good. So good. Thank you.
In fact, man, with that, man, y'all go ahead. Give me a round of applause. Clap it up for the boy who has been rocking with us for easily our longest episode because he just was giving us so much. I could not even figure out what to cut and maneuver. So we thank you, Bryant, for coming in here and shaking things up and leaving us with that balance of inspiration and then practicality. Right.
Yeah.
I really feel like your story of someone who could walk away from something that would be hard for other people to walk away from and bet on yourself is something that our listeners could really resonate with and really take with them through this week. So this has been the Mental Locker Room, man. I'm your boy, Dr. C. Again, I'm going to ask you, I'm coming to you, asking you to like, subscribe, and comment on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, or just watching the reels on YouTube. Please show us support. And if you want to donate, click the RedCircle link in the description as well. And I'm going to toss it to Tish so she can let y'all know what she doing, where she at, where you can connect with her as well.
And thank you guys again for tuning in to another episode. And like C said, please subscribe to our channel. Watching it, just make sure you hit that button for us. And we definitely appreciate all the support. We want to continue to grow this platform as big as God has intended. And so, yeah, you guys, if you are a coach or an athlete, athletic director, and you're looking for someone to come in and do workshops that are focused on athlete transition, on identity and leadership, or finding your purpose and your identity outside of the game, I'll be happy to come in and serve you guys. You can book a consultation. You can book me to speak at www.teshjohnson. That's all I got.
All right. So you hit the buttons, hit the links, and if you do nothing else this week, be good people. We'll see y'all next time.
AC, God told me to start this podcast, and then he told me to call you. The time is now. You ready?
I got you, T. Let's do it.